Hello and welcome to Stereotypical, the podcast about music and the people that make it. My name is Liam McGrath. I am, as always, joined by Mr. Jack O'Neill. How are you doing? How's life?
I'm all right. Okay, just had a lovely lunch.
Lovely lunch. Lovely little lunch together.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do something a bit different this episode, something we haven't done in a while. I feel like a lot of season one of this podcast, we talk about music, we do reviews, we do the ranked episodes, but we also talk a lot about us, and well, not just us, but like the creative process in general. Jack and myself both being musicians, artists, if you will. And this year we've done a lot of ranked, we've done a lot of new music reviews, hot takes, little think pieces and stuff like that. But we thought we'd switch it up a bit and sort of hark back to the olden days, the good old days, the early days.
The early days. It seems worlds away now.
It does. I think. Just from my point of view, not to discard any of the episodes we were doing, but like it was very sort of like industry based, you know what I mean? Like talking about artists and music and stuff, and it'd be nice to just talk about the process a little bit, just have a little chill conversation for a nice change.
Yeah, I think at the beginning when we was thinking of things we wanted to talk about, I think we was just thinking a bit too hard. Do you know what I mean?
Back in the day?
Yeah.
Right.
When now we just kind of talk in a more sort of general, what's interesting us or what's happening sort of around about way.
So we're going to try and, meld the two a little bit, have sort of a casual conversation. We are sort of basing this on episode 2, I think we ever did of this podcast, was an episode called A Conversation About Creativity.
Yeah, it's the one. It's the one, boys.
Where we sort of essentially just interviewed each other, really, and just sort of got our feelings on some of our creative process.
There's definitely some deep questions in that one.
Yeah, in the hope to not only, learn more about each other and expand our horizons, but also in the hope that some of this information is useful to any people who are either making music or just interested in music and interested in artists and the process in general. So essentially what we're going to do is a part 2 of that. We're going to interview each other, basically. We've got a couple of questions.
That was a lot of waffle thought. We're going to sit and ask each other a couple of questions.
Yeah, but I just wanted to talk about the early days, the good oldie days. So you don't have to have seen the first one to get what's going on here. We're just going to talk about creativity and the music making process. Although if you do want to watch the first one, I will add a little tag on the YouTube video.
Yeah. Out there for you, a little.
I did it on the 1975 one just gone.
Did you?
Yep, will do. Time travel.
Proud of you.
Okay, do you want me to start?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so a couple of pre-prepared questions.
Are you feeling? Are you nervous? Are you excited?
I'm interested.
Intrigued,
I feel like obviously we talk about music a lot.
Yeah.
Just in
Liam likes to say that a lot of our stuff is music based.
Our general conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd say it is to a large degree. But I think it'll be interesting because we've not sat and spoke this specifically in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we dabble. We did Bartos. In general conversation when it comes around.
Yeah, but I want to get a little deep. So, so looking back on
when we first met, I cannot escape. I cannot forget.
Looking back on the time between now and the part 1 of this episode, obviously it was sort of about a year and a half ago.
Right. Okay.
Coming up on maybe like January 2021.
It was sunny, but it was cold.
Right. Let's say February. March 2021. Obviously a lot's changed then. It's been a crazy time. And I think, I don't know about you, but I went and watched that old episode.
Yeah.
And I think our demeanour has changed a little bit. I think we seem more comfortable on the mic and on camera now.
Yeah, I noticed when I watched the first one, I was like,
what, just fiddling?
Spinning.
Yeah. Well, we don't have spin. Well, I've got a spinning chair. But
we ain't got the budget for 2.
Yeah.
I feel like we just must have been nervous or.
Yeah, well,
just not ready.
It was only the second episode, man. We weren't as comfortable with it, I think, and we weren't as prepared.
Seasoned vets.
Yeah, we are. So obviously, looking back on that time that's passed between now and then,
crazy up.
Do you think there's anything big you've learned? Do you still approach creativity in the same way with the same outlook, or has anything changed?
Do I still look at it the same? I think try not to look as deep into it anymore.
Okay, expand on that.
So a lot of the issue with me personally is I always I relate things to like other people's music and whatnot, like ideas.
You compare yourself.
Yeah, so I'm like, this isn't good enough for that. Or like even like working with you sometimes, like I'll withhold myself. Like you'd be like, oh, have you got anything? And I'm like, no. Where I would have done.
That's
I
interesting.
just wouldn't have gone forward with it.
That is interesting.
Where I feel like now I'm a bit more comfortable to be like, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd say it's a good half and half. Sometimes you'd be like, oh no, it doesn't work. But that in turn is still a progression.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
you'll be like, doesn't work, we need something more like this, and that'll put me on the right line. Or you can be like, yeah, it's good, we'll use that. Or you can be like, it's going in the right direction, but we'll add on to that and we'll do this. And it pushes us both forward rather than us kind of both staying there.
Yeah, I think it's important in any creative process to have the confidence or to be in the environment that gives you the confidence to feel like you can express whatever thoughts without it being judged. Because I mean, if you said something, I'm not gonna like. If you said something that I disagreed with, you suggested an idea that I disagreed with when we've been working on music. It's not gonna be like, oh well, Jack's clearly shit at music now, isn't he? You know what I mean? Because he said this one idea that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna like change my opinion of you, and also, even though we have worked together quite a lot and we do understand each other's taste quite a bit, you never know, like something that you think that I might not like. Yeah. Could be something that changes the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be a great.
Like something like I've done with us before is like I've tried to understand what I think you would like.
Right.
And then that will help in a writing way.
Yeah.
So like, Liam usually says some funky words.
Right.
I need to think of a funky word. Or like a lot of the stuff I think about now is like the way you say things.
Right.
And like just like different sounds. Like we always do this and like we can't have like an F. You just can't have an F there.
Yeah.
The F doesn't go.
Yeah, because it's all about phonetics, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and like so I think about that, but I guess it's that I express it more. But I think it's our upbringings that were so different because you were so involved in music, very very outgoingly from birth, from the womb.
Yeah.
Came out whistling apparently.
Right.
And where like there was no one really around me.
Yeah.
That was into that sort of stuff. So, in general, like, you know, asking for like a keyboard was like bit mad, bit west.
Yeah, your creativity, though not stifled, was not necessarily outwardly encouraged.
Yeah, I know it was late on.
Yeah.
Because like I did music at GCSE, but that was like everyone's like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, well, I really like music. And I want to. And it was always understanding. It was always understanding it better.
Yeah, I feel like you do approach shit from that direction a lot of the time, where you're eager to learn about stuff. You know what I mean? Even the amount of like videos you watch of like other people creating, is obviously it's going to influence your process, but also it's just this like thirst for sort of knowledge and an intrigue that you have as to like we'll watch stuff sometimes together. And you'll be like, that is mad. That's really interesting. Like the way
it is mad.
they do that.
I say it's mad a lot.
Yeah,
that's mad.
Yeah,
but I think it's because like I've always connected with music emotionally, and that like you don't really know why.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just that I can have this. I can understand some reasons why it does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool. I'd say that's the difference between this and last time.
You've stopped overthinking other people's opinions.
Yeah, because.
It's important.
I was like, let's say, for example, like Cardi B, right?
Right.
Cardi B.
I'm interested to see where this is going now.
But it's only just like she has got like this music that she makes that she must obviously like.
Right.
But Cardi B doesn't go out and think, oh, I wonder what Adele's doing.
Right, yeah. Because you just got to do the best.
Just got to do
yourself. Yeah.
I will do things I think is good, but then I'll listen to something else. Like what we do usually when we have lunchtime, we get in that lull. Like fucking, that's nothing compared to what we do. But it doesn't disregard what we do. But like old me would have been like, oh, there's just fucking no point.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if people are just everyone you listen to might have got at one point, oh, there's no point.
Yeah, well, because I think
4 artists in the world.
Everyone to a degree thinks, at least a little bit, like that they're not worthy. You know what I mean? But if you put your hand out, the hammer will come. You know what I mean?
Hammer.
Yeah. Mjolnir. Or however you fucking
Mjolnir.
pronounce
Oh
it.
yeah, Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about you? Do you think anything's changed with you?
I guess it's weird actually. I sort of lost faith for a long time when we spoke about this recently. Not necessarily lost faith in my own creativity, but I think I lost faith in my ability to maybe make something career-wise out of it, and then that led to me not putting my all into it because I don't know, I lost this like fire and this belief that I had that I've recently got back. So I guess that's been a whole like process of learning. And it, similar to what you were saying, I guess, it sort of made me come around to the realization that like I am me and I can do me really well. And it's just about, improving that and doing the best I can rather than worrying too much about external factors.
Yeah, it's always stuff on the outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my first things I've got for you.
Hit me.
And let's try. I'll go with this one, right?
Okay.
So, trying to make it flow.
Yeah, okay.
So to be a musician, you have to make music not only you like, but obviously other people have to kind of like it as well.
Yeah.
So naturally, you'd think someone will have like a good ear for a tune, right? So, what do you think makes you good at picking that sort of stuff out?
What do you think? What do I think makes me good at picking?
Like that makes you have a good ear
when I'm making stuff. Like,
well, I guess it comes with both because obviously, like people have different tastes.
Right. Yeah.
But some tastes you're gonna take into your own.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, what makes you think? So, like when you're writing or when you're doing stuff with the band, what makes you think? Oh, right, that one there.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I guess I've never really thought too deeply into it. I think it's like with me anyway, and this is maybe where we contrast, is that like it's very intuitive. It's just like it's just vibe, like
yeah.
We've spoke in the past before about how sometimes I can see where a song needs to go. So I don't really question like why I think that. It just feels like it needs to go there. Now, what has changed over time, I guess, is the editing process then. So like when I'm making stuff, when I'm listening to stuff, it's all vibe. Like if I don't know, if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. Some stuff I will appreciate for its technical ability or whatever.
Yeah.
Like for example, I listened to this album Voodoo by D'Angelo, which is like known as a classic album. And I was like, this is good, and I understand why this is, held as a great album, but it's not for me. You know what I mean? I can appreciate good things and then put them to the side. You know what I mean?
Right.
And likewise, I can appreciate there's something that there's music that I like, and I'm like, I know this isn't that good, but it just does it for me.
Yeah.
So that's when it comes to listening to music. But I think when it comes to writing music, it is very just like whatever feels right in the moment, and then what's changed over time is how much I edit that later. So I will get my ideas out, and then this is why it's good working with other people, or you or the band or whatever, is we can then go, okay, these are all the parts, this is the basic idea.
Right.
What needs doing, you know what I mean? Like, do we rearrange the structure? Do we add more sounds? Do we take shit out? You know what I mean? It's better to just get everything out that I feel, and then I can make sense of it a bit later on, you know what I mean? Like we've recently been working on this song Fruit that I showed you the other week, and it went through like 5 different iterations of restructuring it and stuff because I came to the boys with my version, and then it was like, okay, what do they think? What do we think collectively? Like, how can we make this the best possible thing based on the parts that I have presented? You know what I mean? And that's the way I work a lot with the band. It's like I'll come up with the core sort of world for the song to live in. You know what I mean? The main ideas, and then it's
refining.
Refining, or like even like adding stuff or taking away stuff or whatever. But I don't know what makes me make those decisions.
Yeah,
I think to a degree it's just taste in it.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to think of like listening wise as well. Like when you find a song that you like, and like sometimes I'm like, oh, this song is gonna be massive, and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong.
Yeah,
which I find a bit crazy because I've guessed.
What is it about it that makes you think that? Yeah,
like with that Oliver Tree song we was on about before. Like I was like, I can understand why that's going to be big because it's like sort of retro and it's kind of booming.
Yeah.
It's a bit different.
TikTokable.
Well, yeah, that's what you'd have to think about these days. But I remember when the Chainsmokers album came out, right? The first one. Like I'd listened to it and I was like, that song there, like track number 7, isn't a single, but I think that's going to be the one. And it never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Never had any airplay. Yeah. And that I was like, oh shit, got that one wrong there.
Well, it is mad, innit? Because we were talking about in the last episode, Oh Caroline by the 1975, why wasn't that a single? You know what I mean? Like we think it would be up there, but I guess it's just
or fucking the Revolvers, man. The Revolvers first tunes.
Oh, back in the day. Yeah. Okay. So context to that, like my old band, we put like a single out, and everyone preferred like the B-side.
Yeah, everyone liked the B-side more.
Everyone thought the B-side should have been the single.
How did you feel after that though? Like, was you taken back? Was you humbled? Was you understanding? Was you like, you're all fucking wrong?
I was miffed, like, because I still don't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, well, that's, and so I've been on a big Fred again kick lately.
Fred again,
and he did a like hour-long Zane Lowe interviews, which those interviews are fucking great at the minute. But anyway, I digress. He did that interview with Zayn and he was talking about Brian Eno, who was his mentor, said to him that you will never learn anything from a song that's not been released.
Yeah, true.
So I guess like you only really understand
in hindsight.
Yeah, what you've made sometimes in hindsight, and you can never, as much as you can within the industry, like you can manufacture a degree of success, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, like labels know what they're doing to a degree, but also like, do they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like Jack Antonoff said, you can't make art that's good for business. You just have to make good art and then try and shift it in the best way possible because you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to predict people's reception to something that you've made.
True.
You know what I mean?
So true.
Let me get the fucking notes back up. So I've noticed a lot of mine actually are probably about sort of like time and learning and like the way you've fucking grown and shit.
WA12.
Is there anything WA12? Why?
So on, man. The ends.
Is there anything that you've learnt from the artistic process that you would carry into real life? Things you've learned about yourself or like about that's just given you an understanding about life? Because I think listening to music and making music, at least for me, does bring a greater understanding of people to a degree. You know what I mean? Even just working with other people in an artistic sense, you learn about people, and that's important for music, but it's also important for life. Is there anything that you think has carried over from that process?
The first thing that jumped into my head is I've talked about this to you before. Is like you're like hyper creative. You're always like on the go. You're like, well, especially you get back into it now.
Yeah.
But in the past, and like you've been like 100%. I've got this. I'm doing this. I'm gonna do all these things. It's gonna be good. And you know you're getting it. You let yourself out there, and you're like, fuck man, you just need to do it more. You're like, why? You're like, why aren't you doing anything? Do something.
Yeah.
You're like, you can do it. Just go and I don't understand why you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck off, man. Leave me alone. I do my own thing. And then when we've spoken about Joe.
Right, our friend Joe.
And was like, Joe at the time was the best.
The best producer, but he just didn't have the belief in himself to do anything.
Yeah, he was like worse than me. But like looking back now at the difference we all had, he was fucking miles ahead.
Right, yeah.
Especially with that technical wise.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
For the time. And he's sloped off a bit and he's doing other things now.
Yeah.
So when I've had an idea for a song, I'm like, the guy for this, Joe.
Yeah.
I need Joe because he's better than me at this. I'm like, Joe, come and do this. Like, nah, man. I've not touched Cubake's in months.
Right.
I'm like, you're fucking wasting, man. What do you mean? Like, I need what you have and you're not doing it. So what? And I'm like,
You understand
there
what
it
I
is.
was saying to
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
I understand that now.
Right.
So I feel like I've taken that in the music sense.
Yeah.
Like, that relates to other things now.
Yeah. I think that's correct. Because it's just I hate the idea of wasted potential anyway. But I just think, like, if you want something, which, like, all right, it's a bit different with you because I feel like at least now you don't really want a career in music. There was maybe a time when you considered it.
Yeah, it was. I remember it being very hard for you to understand at the time. He was like, but what would you do though? And I was like, well, I don't really want to do anything.
Yeah.
I was like, if I had to choose someone, this is the guy I'd be.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't understand why you're coming learning about it and doing nothing.
Yeah, and I get it now that we're older. But again, it's that wasted potential thing, man. But on, like, you know, using not you as an example, if you are, because there's people who, and maybe I've been this person in the past who, like, you have a want to do something, and it's a scary thing, right?
Right.
Because you're putting yourself out there and you're taking risks with your life and your potential career and stuff.
Yep.
And you can apply this to music, but you can apply it to a lot of other contexts as well. Of, like, you're putting yourself out there and that's scary. So you don't, and maybe this is where I've been at recently, like, you don't give it your all because you kind of, like, almost like in a self-sabotaging way. Like,
you're holding back.
Yeah, but you sort of just have to take the leap of faith. Like, if you fucking want it, go get it.
Yeah.
And we out here trying to get it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that completely. Like, you know, people are going to preemptively think, I'm going to get shit for this, or people are going to think I'm awful, so therefore I'm not going to do it. And you will never have the actualization of what it is because you never do it.
Yeah.
So you're already fucking yourself over before you started.
Yeah. And really, you've got, like, nothing to lose.
Oh, definitely 100% not.
Well,
no, not really in a context,
no,
yeah. Right, my next one, getting kind of focused a bit. I've got, what would you say are the top 3 attributes for someone who wants to make it?
Well, it's tough, and to a degree, I feel like I have absolutely no place to say this because I've yet to make it. Come back to me in a year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
time for it.
But from what I can gather, as somebody who's now back to giving it their all, fucking back, baby, back to giving it their all. There's almost like a blind faith that you need. I think
not the Chasing Status song.
No. Just an actual blind faith.
Right.
Like, part of what got me the fire burning in me again was the Matty Healy Zane Lowe interview. And I was just watching it thinking, like, this guy wanted this. And he had a plan and he was like, this is what I'm going to be. And he just willed it into existence. You know what I mean? Because he was like, this is what I am and this is what I'm going to be. You know what I mean? And not even in a, like, hustle culture, motivational way. It was just that simple, you know what I mean? And I used to have that blind faith that for a while went missing. Whereas now I sort of believe that I can do it. And even, not only important to believe you can do it, it's important to believe that if you don't do it, you'll be okay.
Yeah. Which
sounds deeper than it is.
No, yeah, I get the gist of what you're saying.
Like, having the knowledge to know that you're adaptable enough as a person.
Like, failure isn't it the end of the world.
Yeah. But also, like, if you put too much stock in having a plan B, then you're not putting enough stock in plan A and you won't do it anyway. You know what I mean? You can't half-arse it. You've got to fucking can't have one foot out the door. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was thinking. We always talk about having a foot out the door.
Yeah.
If you have a foot out the door and you're thinking about leaving, then you're already...
It's literally like with anything as well, like, especially creativity, but you can take that into fucking life, like, commit or don't. You know what I mean? So there's a blind faith and a persistence that you need. Hard work, obviously, you need. And, like, a degree of self-awareness, which is, like, extremely difficult to have. And I'm sure, like, people that know me would say that I don't have that, but I think I at least try. That's all you can do, really, with self-awareness.
What are we talking about self-awareness? Do you know what I mean? In terms of like music and
Yeah, well, okay, so this might be a slight tangent, but I think a lot of people who are trying to be successful in music are just making stuff. They're just making stuff and not looking at themselves or the things that they're making and think, how is this marketable? How am I going to get people in the industry to give a fuck about this? How is this going to connect with people? How is this going to grow my audience, right? And obviously we've talked about you need to do whatever pleases you, but also, it's what Jamie always says, you got to play the game to a degree.
always
Proof it.
got to play the game.
So too many people just make shit, and this is a maybe it's just because the scene I come from, but this is a particular problem with indie bands. They just make shit. They just do whatever feeds the soul. They replicate the shit they've heard or whatever, and then they're like, why am I not making it? Like, why is it not working? Like, oh, the music industry's fucked. Like, nobody good makes it anymore. Like, all this new music shit. Maybe your shit. You know what I mean? Like, maybe your shit. Unsigned bands are the incels of the music world. Right? The problem is probably you. Wow. And that is an important point to make. And you can say about me or my art or whatever you want, and you can say, well, you're not self-aware. Maybe I'm not, but at least I'm trying. So, like, I'm looking at what I'm doing and trying to be like, okay, I could do this and it'll completely feed my artistic vision. Or I can do this, which still pretty much completely feeds my artistic vision, but has the spin on it of like, okay, this is sellable.
Yeah.
Right? And like I say, you can't make art that's good for business, but also if you're selling art, you have to consider the fact that it's gonna...
Right, okay.
You have to consider the product side of it, you know what I mean? So I think when you're creating, you have to be self-aware, and I think that's why it's taken us so long to get this list of tracks that are out of shot for a potential album that I'm making, because we had so many ideas.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, this is just a... Like, you know, I make so many just like random ambient pieces of music that you listen to and you'd go, oh, that's a vibe, and it maybe it makes you feel emotional shit. But like, if I'm trying to make a first album as an artist, as a pop artist, then you have to cater to that to some degree. Yeah. It's the Charlie Puth thing.
So if we're naming the three,
you're
going faith,
blind faith, hard work,
and self-awareness.
Yeah, because there's a degree of luck involved, and you could say there's a degree of talent involved.
Talent was one that I was thinking of.
Hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah, so true. So true.
Stick that on a motivational poster. But yeah, that's what I'd say the top three are. Do you ever... This is sort of changing lanes a little bit, actually.
Shit. So we're not going back in time.
No. Do you ever worry about being too honest lyrically or artistically? Like, how does it feel knowing that people are going to listen to what you're making? And I suppose that you have a unique perspective on this because you're never the voice that says the things you write.
So true, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
not the singer.
Yeah.
So.
I feel fine because I know a lot of it is like metaphorical. Like, I think you're a good songwriter.
Thanks.
It's all right, mate. It's fine. It's fine. And but I like it more when I know what you're talking about.
Right.
And we do this a lot of the time. I'm like, oh, that was good, but what did you mean by this? What does this mean? Do you know what I mean? And I guess that that's what I sort of do as well. Do you know what I mean? I want to be I want someone to read it and be like, oh,
what does that mean?
Yeah. I like a good double entendre sometimes.
Yeah.
No, that's what it means, but it doesn't mean that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess when we was on about before, like, I like watching a lot of like deep dives and shit like that. Yeah. Like, I kind of do it to myself when I'm writing something down. Like, right, that rhymes, that fits.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Mm.
Oh, but it could actually mean this.
Yeah.
Right, that one must stay.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like, right, I've got these, but this line is just there. We're going to have to change it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting level of artistic self-awareness, I think.
Yeah, I feel like That's the main way I do it, especially like when we're doing stuff. Like obviously, like we produce and we kind of mix as you go. When we have the sort of vibe of the song, it doesn't really change.
Yeah.
I'd say, and then I'd go home and I'd get my electric guitar, but not plug it in. Then I will sit and I will work out the basic chords and I will figure out what sort of meaning we're gonna get behind.
Right. Okay.
And then I'll write it down, and then I'll be like, right, so that's the vision.
Yeah.
But it's never really what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, I think of this. So, like, if I'm like in my head, right, this is the event I'm speaking about.
Right.
I know what it is. But I'm going to twist it to make it a bit more general.
Yeah.
So someone else can be like, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But there's only really me that'll know what we're on about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we spoke about there's two things I want to go over there. We spoke about in the past. That is like the thing with JP Sachs, same room, when we spoke about
Portugal
being being so specific that it's relatable even to people who haven't had that exact experience. You know what I mean? So I guess, do you ever consider that, or do you try and like dress it up in metaphors?
I wouldn't say we dress it up. I'd just say we just take out the specifics.
Right. Okay.
That's what
but is that because you want it to be hidden or relatable?
Both.
Right. Okay.
Because as you know, I'm a man with the, like, you know, if this is the first thing about music anyway, I always feel like writing songs is a bit mad base level generally, do you know what I mean? Because you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you're making yourself vulnerable, which is, you know, never a good thing.
Right.
So I think that's always a part of it.
And what about when it comes to like actually, you know, like say we've worked on something, we're releasing it.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to hear it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts leading up to that? Do you consider what other people will think?
I feel excited.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like, a lot of the time, like, I think with the Stockholm stuff, I'd always be more negative about the production and the sonics rather than the song.
Right, yeah.
Most of the time. Whereas some stuff we haven't put out, I've been like, the song's there, or like the sound, the instrumental is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the vocals that we've struggled with, or it's the songwriting we've struggled with. So, like Pink Moon, for example, like I was excited for Pink Moon. So like I like the song.
Yeah.
I'm excited for people to hear it and see what they think. And some people say it's shit. Fair enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a bit of you, whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. It's
I guess it's the vulnerability is the focal point.
Yeah, because I think I'm definitely guilty of like looking at it. I'm excited for people to hear, but I also like in the back of my mind I look at it too much from their point of view, and I'm like, oh, like I feel like they're not gonna like this because this or because this. You know what I mean? Like when in fact, you know, usually people will think it's fine.
Yeah. I think obviously being the creator, you overthink what someone else will think.
Yeah, definitely.
Where some people just take it for face value.
Yeah, and I think you can definitely, if you get too in your head about thinking about what other people are going to think, and it's a double-edged sword because it relates back to what I was saying in the last point about needing to be self-aware enough to, you know, almost predict what other people think, which in turn goes to the point before that about you not being able to predict what other people think. But like, if you get too in your head about it when you're actually making the music, you can sit at risk of getting this like paralysis by analysis thing of like making decisions based on what you think people are gonna like. Yeah. Which again, like you need to do to a degree because you got to play the game. But you like, you can just get caught in a fucking loop. You know what I mean?
So easy to just stop and start, like you said, analysing it.
Yeah. So I think it's good. Like I don't know if you do this, but I sort of almost detach myself from it. Once it's like done, I'm working on it, and then I'm releasing it. So I'm working on it. I'm just trying to think about working on it. I might be excited to show it to other people or whatever, but I'm not trying to think too deeply into what other people will think.
Yeah.
Then I finish it, and then it's almost like I'm listening to it from a like an outside perspective. You know what I mean? And I can enjoy it as if it's not my own song.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. like we always have. Obviously, when like we're finalising something, we listen to it ridiculously. We don't, it's like numb a bit. And then like when you go out and you listen to it again, it's like actually like, yeah, that's it now.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is it you? Is it me?
Yeah, I think it's
Is it
me.
you?
It's
You gonna
me.
ask me
It's
something?
me.
Yeah. Hit me.
So something we've spoke about before.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on following music in an academic route?
I guess it depends what you want to do with it. So obviously there's following in an academic route in the sense that you did where it was just purely out of intrigue, you know what I mean? And I want to be able to create better, or at least to be able to get your ideas down.
Yeah.
If you want to be a session player or like a
this is where I thought you were going to say.
musician,
If you got not like, oh, you want to be a mix engineer, go and learn it. Like if you want to be an artist,
right? Yeah. What? So sort of like a writer, like a producer, creative.
Well, just think of
because that's what I mean. Like if I guess it's sound enough if you're a player, because you will probably learn stuff.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. Like
through that process.
I'm thinking that like as someone like you, like you can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can do it, but you've obviously chosen a pathway.
Right. Yeah.
But obviously because when you're young and you're in school and you could be dabbling and you like play guitar at that point or whatever, like you might do some singing lessons. But the world is pushing you forward academically. Like you have got to go and do this basically.
Yeah. I would say maybe don't go to university to do it. You have more of an insight into that than me because I didn't go, whereas you went and left.
Yeah.
Because.
But I wasn't going to be.
To be.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Well, okay, so yeah, so.
You got to kind of think like
we know from being in college, right? We know from being in college that it was a helpful time, a useful time. It taught us basics, but the way you really learn stuff about producing and writing and the creative side of it to a large degree is just by doing it, right? You said yourself that you've probably learned more, even in your time at college, just by watching YouTube videos than you did by actually being at college. Yeah. It taught us the foundation level basics. We had a good time. We met, started a podcast, great times. But it wasn't like we went in not knowing how to make music and we came out knowing how to make music. You know what I mean? So university is to a degree an extension of that. Like I know a guy who did songwriting at Lipper, and I'm like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, they just sit around and talk about like song structure all day. I don't understand. It's not something you can necessarily teach. And also, I would say if you can't, I don't want to like shit on people too much. It's like if you can't,
that's not like you.
If you can't pick up the basics of like songwriting by observing other songs, then you need to maybe put more time into it or reconsider, because like you should be creative enough to be able to analyze something, a piece of work, and creatively represent
there is like
it.
people out there with like degrees, like you're saying, in songwriting and
and I don't I guarantee that I can string together a better tune.
You're saying you're up there.
Well,
no,
okay, I'm not saying, because again, it's very specific to each case, and I don't know the context. But just because you have a degree in songwriting does not mean you are a good songwriter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
And as we know, most people who make it successfully in music probably didn't go to university, because the idea of going to university is kind of anathema with being a musical artist.
Right, okay. But what about, because we're on about university a lot, right? You got to think like maybe like a Brit school.
Right. I don't even know what the Brit school is really. And what does the Brit school do?
I don't know, but it's produced some fucking people
who've done it, haven't they? That's good. And this is maybe what you can say in the favour of university is like connections.
Right.
You're meeting other people. Brit school, particularly because it's so connected to the industry, you're meeting industry people. But even just going to university, you're meeting other musicians, you're meeting other artists, maybe meeting other songwriters, and a lot of people that did go to university who are musical would have started bands in university.
Right.
And that's where a lot of bands come from.
Broadening horizons and such.
But it's by no means essential. You know, it's cool to, and maybe helpful to a degree, to know like some theory. I don't know a lot, and I know a lot of people who are successful musicians who don't know a shitload, and that's fine as well. But yeah, university. I don't think university's worth it.
Yeah, for this.
Yeah, and for most things, unless you want to be like somewhat very specific.
Yeah,
teacher, doctor, someone that requires a degree, then
just always coming down to the point, like when we was in college or whatever, but like you've got to apply to university.
Yeah,
like whether you go or not, you've got to apply.
I didn't.
You've got like, you know, this week in college we are writing your personal statement.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So I think for some creative people, especially people that want to go into music, for example, like that's gonna be, what am I gonna do? Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously you was like, I ain't doing it. But some people like, right, everyone's telling me I've got to apply to university. Yeah. What am I applying for? And then you've got the option of, are you going to follow your interest and go with your hobbies, such as music, or are you going to go and do maths?
Yeah. Well, it's like...
if someone is in that situation right now, right?
Yeah.
They're thinking, fuck, man, people tell me I've got to go to university, but I'm really creative. I might want to be an artist. What advice would you give this person?
I would say don't go to university. Get a job that sustains you enough but doesn't make you want to shoot yourself in the face, and put as much time as you can into your artistic pursuits and be self-aware enough to try and build a career in that.
And to kind of have a balance of know what your goal is, but you need to obviously sustain yourself. Yeah.
Because the thing is, I think if you go to university to do something else, then you're going too far down the path of being able to sustain yourself. You know, plus, also, you can go to university later on.
So true.
Like, Sean, the bass player in my band, went to college, then was going to go to university, and I was like, don't go to university, let's start a band. And he was like, you know what, I actually do want to be in a band. So we went back to college to learn more about like music and production and stuff. And then just sort of worked a string of jobs while we did the band over the past few years. Obviously, pandemic kind of fucked it a bit, like got in the way loads. And only now that we're getting older and like I starting to having to consider like, okay, what we're going to do if this doesn't work. He's like, okay, well, my contingency plan, I want to do this, this and this, and that sort of involves a degree. So he's now doing that on the side, you know what I mean? But he's 24. So you can always go back and do it later. You don't have to go to university when you're 18 just because everyone else is going when you're 18. So I say, if you've got a passion, fucking follow it.
Yeah.
But don't, you got to know when to stop following it.
Right.
Like, I'm aware that I have like, I've just turned 24. I have a year left.
Yeah.
At most. Because I'm not like just bumming about. I'm still doing other stuff. You know what I mean? I have a job and shit. But, I don't want to be 30 and like still playing in bars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I guess that's what I could say on that point. Sort of went off on a tangent there, but fuck it, I hope that was helpful. So we first met 7 years ago.
Really?
Back in the day, yeah, 2015, we started college.
Wow.
It seems like a lifetime ago.
Wow. Yeah. It's gone quite fast, that. Was knowing each other.
Yeah. In that time, obviously, we've worked together on stuff, we've worked separately on stuff. Leading in for effect. Yeah. We've worked together on stuff, we've worked separately on stuff.
We have.
What do you think the biggest change has been in the way you worked in that time? Obviously, you've learned a lot since then. You think back to college, think about maybe some of the very early productions that you did, like the process, the things you had in your mind, the beliefs, the way you thought things had to be done.
Yeah.
What do you think that one of the biggest changes has been?
One of the biggest changes. So two come to my mind straight away, right?
Good.
I'm trying to think of like an analogy of how to like imagine like if someone was drawing a house, right? Like you get a piece of paper and you're like, right, I need a door, I need a window, I need a roof, I need a chimney, I need a garden.
Right.
I used to think that sort of way about like making music. I was like, right, in order to make something good, I need A, B, C, D, E, F. And that will make me a good song.
Right.
When obviously that isn't true. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a guitar, drums, bass, vocals, fucking hi-hats, pan left and right to have a good song.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that has definitely changed. So people might be making something like, right, it's got this fucking frequency missing. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing down there or up here or whatnot. I'm going to put something in.
Right.
Like, that's changed the most, I'd say.
Yeah, because...
Especially with the way... So we kind of started with me being, like, very synthetic-based. And you're very, like, natural guitars. Indie band back in the day. And it's always worked well for us.
Yeah.
Because I was bringing stuff to you that you necessarily wouldn't do, and vice versa. And then it got to a point where I was like, right, needs a guitar in this, though.
Yeah.
And you was like, it doesn't.
Yeah, we sort of switched a little bit.
And I was like, no, it does. And he was like, broski, it doesn't need... It's fine the way it is. It doesn't need that extra thing. And I was like, right, okay. You know, and then sometimes it's worked.
Yeah.
So I think that is one thing. So I used to think there was like a template of what good songs were and whatnot.
Yeah.
It kind of switched in my brain that like I could listen to something and say this is good, but when it was like making something, it wouldn't correlate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another thing is like how to make shit sound good.
Right.
So like we was talking before about Charlie XCX's vocal chain.
Yeah.
And there would have been a point in time where like I was like, there's got to be some sort of special sauce that you can just put on it and it will be better.
Yeah.
And it just isn't the case.
There is no special sauce.
There is no secret sauce.
No, everything is specific to a song, artist.
Yeah. And
context.
I also agree that like, you know, in Kung Fu Panda, with a secret ingredient soup, where there is no secret ingredient.
Yeah.
Like, so we could make something like when we did the vocals for Might Have Been Pink Moon, to be fair.
Right.
And we was like, fuck, that's actually a very good
vocal.
What we've done there is very good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we can just save it, go on to the next song. Well, you can try your best.
To be fair, the Pink Moon vocal chain has become like my starting point.
Yeah, exactly. Chain. Like we can't just copy it and put it on the next song. And it's going to be like, just
change
as good.
It a little bit. You know what I mean?
Like you can reference and you can be like, right,
you have to tailor it to whatever.
This is what we've done before. We can do it again.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you can just kind of put on and make it sound decent.
Yeah, I want to just backtrack several points. I think I very much agree with what you're saying. I think when you're starting out, it is good to have that idea of like, I need all the elements in the house. You know what I mean? Because it gives you a base understanding of how to put things together and just unlock the memory, as you were saying. That is when we used to watch Pat Ryan videos, right? Pat Ryan, the
GOAT,
the fucking YouTube,
the OG.
He just used to make beats, like little 30-second beats on YouTube.
Mr. Arrangement himself.
Yeah, wherever the fuck he's gone now. But I remember us being in college, right, and going, oh, we should just try and make music in that way, because he'd maybe like do the keys and then he'd put or like do the drums and then put keys on it and then like do a bass. So like it was literally layering it up layer by layer.
Yeah.
And it's so basic, but up until that point, I feel like I'd just been fucking about on the computer. Whereas we specifically wrote down drum pattern, keys pattern, and then I was going through like trying to put things down, like ticking them off the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that really gave me an understanding of how to like program stuff.
Right.
Obviously, before that, I'd worked in a band context.
Yeah.
Where it's easy enough because you've got different players to do stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely worth knowing all the elements of the house. It's like that saying like, know the facts and then distort them at your leisure. So like, know everything what you have to do, and then you can take out elements later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it works with a musical context. You know, you get the best possible recording, and then you can fuck it up as much as you want in the edit, but like you get it nice. You know what I mean? There was another thing that I can't really remember what the fuck I was gonna say. You were on about the house.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, this is what this song is going to need. Before you can have fucking nothing, just start nowhere. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, right, it's gonna need to have this. It's going to it's going to need to have this.
Yeah. I don't know. I've lost.
And then the secret sauce, man. Yeah, like thinking, oh, this is just gonna be good, or like when we first started using Cubase, we was doing like a lesson on like mastering and stuff. And there was a mastering plugin, right? It might have been Ozone or something, to be fair. And it just had like different sections of stuff you could do. And we had it on, and we was like...
We were fucking with that thing for like a good half hour.
And we was ticking boxes, and we was like, turn it up, and we was going, oh man, that sounds a lot juicier, that. And we was going through, like, kind of playing the song and listening to the changes. Then about a fucking hour later, like, the whole thing was just fucking bypassed.
Yeah, we hadn't actually been making
We've
any
not
changes
changed
to it,
anything. We've just been sat there fucking thinking.
twiddling knobs on something that wasn't even turned on.
Wasn't even on. And then we turned it on, and it was fucking gruesome. Horrible. And we've been sat there thinking we were pros.
That was funny.
Do you know what I mean? Like the secret sauce, man. Like it's just not how it works.
Yeah, there is no secret sauce.
But there's a guy on YouTube, and he's like, his thing is called Make Pop Music, and he's very good at like tutorials, and what he does is good. Like this is how to make like an Ariana Grande sounding song.
Yeah.
But like he loads up the project like of like what he's gonna make in the music, and he's just got like everything already there.
Yeah.
And he'll have like vocals, and then he'll have like the vocal plugins, and then he'll have like an EQ ready to go.
That is mad,
It's
having
fucking-
I get having your instruments laid out,
Yeah.
but having like stuff in the chain
Yeah.
and the effects set up, like, because like I know when you watch like Guy from Disclosure do Twitch streams and whatever, when he opens a new project, he has his project template, so he's got all his instruments
Yeah.
that he's gonna need, but it's not like there's no set
Yeah.
processing on each one, you know what I mean?
And I think that's like to the extreme.
Yeah, that is a bit much.
But to be fair, I have thought about it sometimes. Like, do people that have, made it big with a song, for example, go back into that song? It's like, right, this is the sound that worked.
Yeah.
Let's just change like the melody and stuff.
Well, Ian Fitzpatrick, who's produced like Charlie XCX and Dua Lipa and stuff like that, said that he used to go out of his way to not use the same sound or the same fucking plugin or whatever. And then he was like, nobody listening knows. Like,
what it is.
if it sounds good, it sounds good. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter that I've used it before. So I've just adopted that kind of mentality with my own stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter.
I guess that's something as well with like samples and what the fuck's it called? Presets.
We're getting in deep here on the audio.
No,
shit, but
just
yeah.
very, very briefly. Like people are like shit on, the system shits on like, this guy's just used a preset.
Yeah.
I know this preset. Oh, that's the same kick drum.
Yeah.
But who gives a fuck, man?
Who cares?
Who cares? It doesn't. If you like it anyway and you think it works, then go for it, man.
Use CLA vocal for all you want.
What a one.
If you know, you know. I don't have it, but whatever. Anyway, go ahead.
I think, is it me?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Is it me? I've only got two more. I think we've gone probably more in depth than I thought we would on some of these things.
Yeah.
So just a quick, have you got any left?
I've got one.
Right, okay, I'll go for the easy one first. My basic question is, what would you settle for?
What does that mean?
So, like, in the grand scheme of things, I was like...
Career-wise?
Yeah, we know you're a man who wants... We know what you want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're going to have to fucking work hard and shit to get that. But what would you... Like, if I could give you a piece of paper right now, deal with the devil sort of stage, right? You'd be like, right, I can give you this.
So the least I would take.
It's the minimum you would have.
Yeah.
But obviously it depends on what you want.
I mean,
like, what are you going to be okay with?
Because obviously, ideal world, we know I'm like writing and producing stuff.
Yeah.
To my own like project or whatever. Then next down, maybe writing and producing for other people. Then maybe a bit below
but is
that.
Just like general day to day, I'm going to work. Have you reached success in this minimalistic? What are you settling for?
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, if I'm understanding the question correctly, I'm thinking like, when we talked a few weeks back about like me saying, oh, like I could, if I just like polished up my instruments, I could be a session player. You know what I mean? And that'd be like fairly fulfilling.
Yeah.
But then I guess you got to think about like, as we get older, I start thinking about like money and stability and stuff like that. And the idea of being a session player as like self-employed and just not, and also like, you make decent money, but you're not going to be fucking wealthy. So it's like, if I'm not going to be top game creativity, music industry shit, do I just want to fuck that off completely and go somewhere where I can still? I think I'd have to do a job that involved me to be creative to some degree. You know what I mean? Even if it's not music, if it's like some sort of creative decision making or like audio related or video editing related or whatever. Right. But I don't know, man. My head's in a fucking spin lately, to be honest, because you know, we had that conversation a few weeks ago where I was sort of saying, you know, like I could do this, and my current occupation is audio engineering.
Yeah, like theoretically, right?
Like in a live setting.
The sky's the limit. And there's a ladder, yeah? There's a ladder. I can get you certainly 100% on one of these steps amongst the ladder.
But you're saying what's the worst one that I would do? What's the minimum?
Like obviously, like you'd say, well, put me at the top then.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not a choice. What's the
lowest rung I'd let you put me on?
Yeah.
Probably session player, I guess. It'd be okay to play in other people's bands. It's fun, you know what I mean? It's good.
Any sort of accolades under the belt?
Big tours would be fucking ideal.
Big
tours. I don't want to be playing fucking functions and weddings and shit. You know what I mean?
Arenas,
probably
stadiums.
Be nice to be somebody's bass player, I guess. Yeah. Just like theatres, venues and shit. You know what I mean? Like go to academy every now and again. You know, it'd be nice.
Yeah. On weekends.
Yeah, but it's a crazy question, to be fair. But and if you'd have asked me a few weeks ago, I'd maybe have a more straightforward answer, but it would probably be wrong. But I don't know. Now I'm too focused on just.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean?
But also, then I do think, like, if I'm not gonna be like top dog music guy, I would maybe like to do something that I could do remotely, so I could travel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, would I try and find another area
where you could travel more?
Yeah. And then
interesting.
Talk about like mixing, maybe. I don't know. And I have a love-hate relationship with mixing music, in the sense that I hate doing it, but I'm okay-ish at it. You know what I mean?
You kind of see mixing as like a bit like as a drag.
Yeah. Well, because it's the bit that I have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I enjoy. I was talking to Jono, our friend Jono Tringham, record producer.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah, yesterday about like he was saying that he thinks he's better at engineering, but he prefers producing.
Yeah.
But it's tough because he runs his own studio. He very seldom gets the opportunity to work on a song where he's just the producer and not the engineer. He kind of has to do both. Whereas he says like he prefers, on the rare occasion he gets to go to another studio and produce a band with an engineer.
Yeah.
So
I guess he's a better
engineer. Whereas I am the same. Like I like when I go to his studio and he's the engineer and I'm the producer, because I think I'm a better producer than engineer.
Yeah.
And I engineer, even though audio engineering in a live sense is my occupation, and I'm decent at it.
It's different to a studio engineer.
It's different to a studio engineer, and I can studio engineer probably better than I can live engineer, to be fair. I'm quite a good mix engineer.
Put it out fucking fair play, man, to the studio engineers. Fucking fair fucks to them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they go in there and do that all the time.
Yeah.
Seamlessly.
It'd be sick, to be fair. It would be sick.
To do as a job? Oh, no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a studio engineer.
It'd be better than not being involved in music, though, surely. Because you're still involved in the creative process. And I think a lot of engineers become producers anyway.
Yeah, but there's going to be people out there that just don't have the juice. Do you know what I mean? Juice. Like, yeah, they can fucking... They know
what artists that come to your studio? Well, yeah, that was
not the artist. Well, obviously, there's going to be people that will hire your studio that might be shit.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Not even like...
Well, that's what I was talking about with Jono the other day, you know what I mean?
But there'll be some people that like just aren't creative enough to push stuff forward, but are still intrigued in like compressors and whatnot, and like linking up shit. Like, fair play to that guy.
Oh, what, that type of engineer? Right, okay. Yeah, fair play to that guy.
Because like...
We need him.
You know, like when we just watched Reeves, like the tape note string with the 1975. Mike was like, just fucking do that again, George. Just fucking play them 4.
Yeah.
And there's like, someone just sat there, like buzzing.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me in my band. Right.
It's you. It
is
sir.
me.
It's you, sir. Define.
Have you still got one question left?
Yeah, but it's not.
I was gonna say I thought you had less than me.
Not deep.
Yeah, we'll try and whiz through these then. Given that making music is just a hobby for you, what would you like to achieve artistically moving forwards? Because because obviously you're sort of lacking in career goals with it. Is there anything that you think? Oh, well, I'd like to get here. I'd like to be able to do this.
I think I'd like to get more stuff out. I think we did. You raised a really good point maybe like a year back or two, where it's like, because I don't really want to go forward with loads of stuff. Like we've got like the little Stockholm thing or platform forward. So if I have anything like that is like, I think is good enough. Like I can always like just push it through you. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think? Do you want to do anything with that?
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Doing stuff with other people. I think at some point, like now we've got songs that we just need vocalists on.
Yeah.
That we just don't have the capabilities for. I think that's always something good that would make it better in its entirety. We can push that forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, going forward, what would I like to do? What else I'd like to do? Yeah, just like getting something heard more. It's just like it's very basic, dumbed down to what you think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean though.
But I also think I do think we've got some good songs. We write some good things.
Yeah, I just think we need to it's difficult because it's not when we work together because it's neither of our main thing.
Yeah. And it's very sporadic. It's
very sporadic because we're so busy with work and other projects and stuff. Like, it's just tough for us to, because like I said before, you need that persistence and that consistency.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's shit to think that like some people can do what we do in a year in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, literally. Well, if you think about it, in 3 years, we've put 3 songs out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's just time. But yes, but I'd like, either get more people listening, A, work with other people, B. Maybe like when I was thinking of like what would I settle for, sort of thing. I'd be like, if we could like get a song, just like somewhere decent, that I'm happy with that.
If is a mad one. Like if the opportunity came to you, would you take it?
To do what?
If it was like
the opportunity of.
So like say, all right, let's take it in the context of when me and you work on stuff.
Yeah.
We put another couple of songs out.
Yeah.
A&R's hitting us up.
And they want to rip us apart.
They want to no.
Okay.
They want to okay, Stockholm, you guys are good songwriters.
Yeah.
Do you want to come and be songwriters?
Would I quit my job?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd quit my job.
So even though you're not like pining for this career, like if it knocked on the door, you take it over whatever else. Man. Really?
100%. Like I don't want to be like a song.
I feel like that means you kind of want it. The enthusiasm
I wouldn't want to be a songwriter. Yeah. I wouldn't want to put all my faith and my eggs in the basket and go for it. It's just something that I wouldn't want to do.
But if you got offered the job,
but if someone was like, right,
what if you got offered the job without me? You're less likely to do it.
I'd 100%. I'm less likely to do it because I do feel like we're good together.
We are good together.
But even when I'm listening to like the Stranger stuff, I'm sometimes like, oh, I wish you would have just consulted me on something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it could be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would if it was us and it was like, do you want to do it? I'd be like, yeah, I'll fucking go on then. What's the worst that can happen? I just fucking go back to my old job in a few months. Do you know what I mean? I go back to normal life. So I'm fine with that.
Well, if I make it, I'll try and bring you with me in some capacity.
But if someone was like, you're coming, but he's shite.
You'd be a sick tour manager, you actually. Would you be a tour manager?
If you wanted me to be, yeah.
Because you're very organised, you know what I mean? You could be like our day-to-day creative tour manager type guy.
I'll book your flights and your hotels and your vans.
Oh, yeah, mate, you'd be sick. All right, well, let's hope we get signed next year and then you can come be our tour manager.
But yeah.
Ellie wouldn't be happy, but...
Oh, yeah, she'd be. If I'm rolling it, she'd be willing.
Go ahead, hit me with the last question.
The last one,
we'll bounce.
It's just, what's your favourite part of making music and why? Because this is something we do a lot of the time. We'll be doing the mixing. We'll be like fucking final touches like this is shit. Let's just start writing something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so what is from conception? Well,
you've said it right there, Jack.
Is that it?
Conception is the best part, as we all know. Yeah, I think or just like the general, the parts of the writing process that are like speedy and intuitive.
Yeah.
The bit when you're excited, it's like, oh fuck yes.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like it's really satisfying when you've finished it and you can listen back to it.
Yeah.
But that initial excitement of either being by yourself, or it's sick if you've got like the homies around, if I'm with you, if I'm with the boys. You know, and there's the buzz, there's the electricity in the air, the ideas coming out, the fucking music's flowing from you, you're not thinking about it, you just go in, everyone's excited about what's going on. Those are the best moments. That's literally why I do it, because I remember, I spoke about this in the episode we did like a year and a half ago or whatever. I remember being 10 years old, I remember sitting on the bed I remember writing my first song, and that excitement fucking filled me, and it's the same excitement I get now when I do it. You know what I mean? And that's the best bit. After that, you know, the editing, the fucking refining, the mixing, it's all cool. I enjoy it because it gets you to the end product. But I think nothing compares to that initial. Yeah. Like, oh fuck, that just like the creativity of it, the raw output of creativity is the sickest bit.
Fair enough, fun.
Right, well, I guess we should get into some Jack's Tactical Tracks and then get the fuck out of here.
Here we go.
This is Jack's Tactical Tracks. Okay, so Jack's Tactical Tracks. Would you like to give a brief explanation?
Brief, James.
For those people who have never seen the podcast before.
Tactical Tracks is where we put forward a question, situation, scenario, environment.
Yeah.
And we would answer said thing with a song.
Yes.
And then we will talk about it afterwards. So today's tracks that are tactical is, what song in your playlist would you be embarrassed to play next?
Well, song in my playlist is kind of a vague way to put it. I'm not a playlist guy anyway. But say song that I would enjoy listening to that is like a guilty pleasure, I guess, yeah?
And I guess guilty pleasure, but I feel like guilty pleasures...
I would be embarrassed. Because you can own guilty pleasures, you know what I mean?
That's
but I would be genuinely a bit embarrassed. If this comes on in the car and you're like, fuck's sake, now I have to sort of... Yeah. I mean...
I feel like I need to explain myself.
Yeah, I mean, I've not in a long time, but I have been known to go back and enjoy a McFly tune every now and again for sort of nostalgia's sake, from like being a kid. You know what I mean? A bit of Do Watcher by McFly maybe, or even what was I listening to? I what's that Maroon 5 song, lad? This love. This love by Maroon 5. I like actively searched that the other day and listened to that.
I feel like This Love by Maroon 5 is like...
I didn't feel good about it. And I listened to it and I was like, that wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I deleted it from search history. Just because I didn't want people to... just not that anybody would, but you know what I mean? It's like,
I feel like you should have been more with McFly, man, about that one. Is someone who else likes McFly? There's someone... buzzes off McFly.
Chloe really loves McFly. Chloe Bermo was big McFly.
Yeah,
we went to see McFly together actually when we were younger.
Now that is a story to be embarrassed about, my friend.
Going to see McFly. I've seen him twice. I saw him when I was a kid, and then we went to see them when we were like 13, 14.
Yeah, we're like, This Love by Maroon 5, I think, is like a nostalgic for a lot of people. It's a pretty classic. I think Maroon 5's one of the ones that are hard to put your finger on. Like, they aren't in the box. Not fucking with, he's not. You can't say he's tied down to anything.
I don't really want to start talking about Maroon 5, but I guess some of the songs off that first album just remind me of being younger or being on holiday or whatever. And I'm not proud of that. I own most of my guilty pleasures, you know. Backstreet Boys, fucking love it, all that shit. But no, not down with the Maroon 5 and McFly's. Like, I guess I can justify why I listen to it for the nostalgia reasons every now and again. Very rarely, may I add, but every now and again. I don't want to discredit everything I've said in this episode now that people think I'd listen to McFly on the reg.
This guy doesn't fuck.
But yeah, I wouldn't want people knowing that, which is why I've just told everyone.
That I didn't really think of.
Go ahead. What are you saying? Sorry, it's just like started.
It's fine. It's completely fine.
What are you saying?
Something I've been embarrassed over. The first common thing that I thought was like, obviously, like back in the day, I used to like The Wanted quite often, and like that's given me a lot of grief in the past. Don't even know why I liked them so much. Just liked them. But the song I've gone for is by The Saturdays.
Right, yeah, I understand why that's...
It's called Forever Is Over.
Right.
It's a banger.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a banger. But if it comes on in the car, I've got to skip that shit.
Yeah.
And just like hope no one sees.
Especially with it.
What just came on?
Imagine you with Ellie and that comes on. She's like,
Oh no, I think Ellie likes Forever Is Over by The Saturdays.
Yeah, but she'd be like, "Why are you listening to Forever's Over?"
I'll tell you, it does like Forever's. Oh yeah. I can understand that. To be fair, I did show Joe
The Saturdays.
I was like, bro,
when was this? Like back in the day?
No,
Recently.
Yeah, we went for a drive like a few weeks ago. But it's the bass line. It just like knocks a little bit.
Right.
So,
Well, you can show it me in a bit.
I'll show you.
And I'll be the judge.
I think it'll make a good little D&B tune.
Okay.
Someone out there, get this sorted.
We can make a D&B tune.
You want to sample The Saturdays, man?
Can't be that hard.
Well,
there we go then.
but yeah, I got to skip that one.
This has been
It's just been
the longest episode in the fucking world, is what it's been.
a nice chat, though.
It's been a good chat, man.
Good chat.
We should do more of this shit.
We'll give it another year.
Yeah, we'll give it another
And
year,
we'll
and then
see.
we'll start talking about ourselves again instead of just bitching about whoever's in the fucking charts at the minute. But yeah, I hope people have enjoyed this slight change of pace, a change of topic a little bit.
Yeah.
Hope there's been some useful information in there. Thank you, as always, for watching and listening.
always.
If you are watching this on the YouTube version of the podcast, I will link all of our social media in the description down below. If you are listening on Spotify or whatever your podcast provider of choice is, then please do follow us, subscribe, make sure you get all the latest notifications, latest podcasts, and check out all of our other episodes.
Yeah. We've got some bangers.
That's some bangers, man. There's quite a lot up there now. Two seasons worth, or one long season.
Oh my gosh,
whatever
so we're
this year's has
coming
been.
towards like end of...
Coming towards the end of season 2, really. We've probably only got. I reckon we've got like one episode left in us, man.
We've still got
we're busy
the big
guys.
fish, man. The big fish.
I reckon we open season 3 with that.
The big fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Also, let us know.
Have we fucking been international?
What?
Been international.
We have been international. If you haven't seen our
Crazy.
episode in Barcelona 2 episodes ago, go watch that. Jack says some fucking stupid stuff. Right, anyway, we're going to get out of here because we've been doing this for time. This has been Stereotypical. My name's been Liam. This has been Jack O'Neill. Thank you very much. Peace out.
Now you